In this video, I'm going to take you guys through an entire day of my live trading. I'm going to show you inside my complete process, the strategy and indicators that I use, as well as the real-time profits and losses and the decision making that goes into me actually taking these trades and finding them in real time. As a lot of you guys know, I've been day trading for over 8 years. I've been documenting it on YouTube for a long time, and I like to do these live trade videos as part of a series to keep you up to date with how I'm trading in real time and a little bit of what we're working on our team. While it's amazing to see our private team doing amazing, I also want to always make sure that I'm bringing value to you guys here on YouTube. Also, shout out 1,000,000 subs, so thank you guys very much. Okay, so today is the third trading session where I have my risk increased. Today is also Sunday, so the price action is going to be a little bit different. We're going to see how well I can do today if we can hit our trading goal. Like I said with you, I'm going to take you alongside me while I'm finding and executing these trades. So it's about 10 a.m. I'm going to show you how I get my desk set up, how I prepare for the session, and then we're going to get into finding trade number 1. All right, so first thing that I'm always doing is setting up my desk. I have my trading view here, which is where I'm going to be doing my charting. I have my exchange here where I'm placing my trades, and then I have my trade journal, which is going to walk me through my progression for the day as far as what I need to do, what I need to look for, and so I can track my actual data. And then over here in the other monitor, I have an overall large view of Bitcoin, which is going to allow me to figure out where I think the market is likely to go for the day, and then potentially be able to take even bigger trades if it is right. But basically, I'm trying to find areas where there's trend established, we see weakness, and then price breaks through these trends. Secondarily, I'm going to be trading momentum and also reversals with these red and green squares you can see here, which are called fair value gaps. So I'm really going to be targeting the midpoint of these with my other confluences, with some of my own indicators and analysis to be able to play into direction, keep my risk contained, and let my winners run. Before we hop into finding a specific trade, this is what I'm looking at with Bitcoin. I'm using Elliott wave theory to do this analysis, which basically is showing me right now on a 4-hour time frame that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by an A, B, C correction. Now this is Elliott wave theory where we have 5 wave patterns followed by A, B, C corrections. Also, you'll notice that Bitcoin has just broken under this critical level and is now coming up to test into this area. So I wouldn't be surprised here to see some sort of resistance and a bigger push to the downside. And if I can find a position to take to the downside, I'm going to look to really try to take advantage of that. But for now, what I'm noticing, if I go over to Solana on a 1 minute, we've broken down from this uptrend here. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially down to 5. So I'm anticipating that this low is to break and continue moving down. And if we do end up at this area, I'm going to be looking to take longs for the rest of the day. So I'm kind of gauging what I'm doing off of this. But as soon as this is to break any critical levels, we'll be able to find a setup and hopefully get into trade number 1. But now we have to wait for the first setup. All right, so right now what I'm noticing is that we have basically this whole entire Elliott wave formation. We've rejected off of this low 1, 2, 3 times, and now we're starting to turn around. This is going to be a heavy area of resistance right in this area. So I'm guessing that price could come up, potentially have a response off of this trend level, and then go ahead and dip down. And if this is to break down for the rest of the session, this is going to be a really, really big risk reward trade. So I'm tapping in short here, see if we can get a bearish response here off of this last area. And then if we do, we're going to get a confirmation for the rest of the session. We should move down. Starting to get a push down back into profit and building an opposite position in case we have to flip our bias and get stopped out. Just waiting for this to take a nice flip down now. We got a response off of that initial level. We were right about that resistance. Starting to get a flip now. Just need to see this level break. If this breaks, we're in good shape. I always want to see this level retested. Initial response good. We're up 1,000. This is the push that we need. All right, just a reminder, this is forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So if this wants to push its way down to 261.8, extend to 5 wave, we're going to have now a 1 to 10 by playing into the high of this 4 area. Now we need this to drop that low. We're up 1,700 now. Yeah, so this low is realistically what we want to look for. Once we break that level, I'm also going to walk my stop loss in. Okay, so right now I have my stop loss here. As soon as we break under that low, I'm going to go ahead and walk my stop loss down to break even. So we'll have a risk-free trade. Got this nice break and then close underneath that level, so we can go ahead and walk our stop loss in to here. I'm going to keep it a little bit wider. I don't want to snuff out this trade, so I'm going to reduce risk a little bit, but nice initial push. So now realistically, I'm going to be targeting an area down here somewhere. That looks good so far. We're up 3,400 now, looking for a nice big one. We're starting to get a push now underneath this break, which is exactly what we wanted. So I've already walked my stop loss into break even. I don't want to crowd the trade too much, so I'm going to let it sort of run. Now we're just going to see if this can continue to drop off. So it's a risk-free trade. The thing that's exciting about this, if we look at this overall for the day, we just hit off resistance at this point on a macro perspective, which is like a 4-hour. So realistically, this could dump Bitcoin all the way down to 114. We could get some really, really bearish momentum. So if we did catch a really high point on the day here, and this wants to continue to move down, this could be sort of a mega trade. I want to hold on to this and we'll see where it goes. current situation with this trade, we're starting to consolidate here where we got resistance before, prices coming back up into. So if this is going to break up through this level, I basically have to take the trade off. So I'm really watching this lump of price action. I'm not going to be too responsive to it if it happens, but I'm not going to let it come up and tag us out for break even. So I'm hoping that this dumps off here. That's really what we need. But if it breaks to the upside, which it looks like it could right now, I'm going to have to take the trade off just because the mechanics of that don't make sense. If it breaks above this high after this consolidation and starts pushing up, it's not a great look for the trend. So we want to trend follow ultimately. If I were to take the trade off the table now and then it dumps and reverses the whole rest of the day, I couldn't, like, I would be very upset. So I'd rather just break even on this, if anything. See what happens. All right, so price came up and tagged me out for basically a break even. I made a small amount of profit. So I'm gonna go ahead and journal this, see which way the market's going to develop, and then we're gonna take a look for trade number 2. Look at the state of my trading. Now we got the market reversing. I try to flip positions here. We'll see if we can get pulled back down and get it, but now it's starting to make a nice move up. It's just a little bit of an annoying day so far, but see if we can find trade number 2. Okay, so basically this trend level has broken out to the upside now. I'm starting to see some bullish tendencies, so I wanna see if I can get into this area, which used to be resistance to turn support, and see if this is gonna play up a little bit into the market, if I can tap in and open myself up for an opportunity here. So if we pull back, I'm going to take an entry and we're going to see if we can get long. And we are in long here, looking for a nice flip off of this level, see if this is going to be support. We're going to continue up for the session. In general, we're at a really critical level for the day. So if this wants to pop out of that level and Bitcoin wants to shoot up, I'm also okay with trend following it to the upside, but clearly failed that low period here. So I'm going to try to flip it and play to the upside now. Not really trying to fight the trend or the movement in the market. I just want to be able to take advantage of the moves. So my stop loss set up here. We breach these highs. I'm going to go ahead and reduce my risk. And now we just got to wait to see what happens. All right, so we're starting to get a nice push up here. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce my risk, walk my risk in a little bit. There's a high chance that this will just come down and retest this trend level, which I totally understand. But if it's not going to, we're going to get momentum, then I want to be able to just sort of contain my risk on the day here. So risk is now set to break even. See how this trade sort of plays out. And we're getting a big push now. From a macro perspective, it looks like that trend level here is broken to the upside, which could be really bullish if we do get a push up even to here for the rest of the session. This also could be a nice move to the upside. So that's sort of a pivotal point for this sort of 4-hour chart. So either way is going to work out probably nicely in our direction. All right, so looking at a little bit zoomed out perspective, we have this level, and this level. I'm guessing the price is going to make its way up and test into this resistance area as well. So I'm really going to try to take this trade off as soon as we make contact with the underside of this trend. So this is where I'm going to be taking profit off, which should be happening here hopefully in a second. I'm just going to sort of walk my stop loss up now. And second thought, if I go to a 3-minute time frame, we have this level, price could come into test this point and then continue moving up for the day. So realistically, I'm going to mark off this fair value gap here. I'm going to try to be a little bit more patient with this trade and sort of walk my stop up as it goes. So now I basically have to have the discipline to watch it react off of this, come back down to here, and then probably make a move up for the rest of the day. I trust my analysis though. I can almost guarantee you that would be what would happen if we were to get a nice big move up on the day. So here we go. All right, so now we sort of broke through that level. I'm gonna just trail my stop loss up behind this price action. If this just wants to have a blow off top for the rest, then that's fine. But otherwise, we have a bunch of risk factors locked in, which is good. So yeah, so now I'm basically just walking my stop loss up and trailing into this momentum here. This is gonna have some sort of pullback at some point. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this off the table here. All right, so I'm fully out. Beautiful trade. We're coming into a lot of resistance here overall. So could move up more, but yeah, taking the trade off. Beautiful trade. All right, so now I'm just journaling my trade. All right, we ended up making $4,436 after fees, which puts us up $4,200 on the day. So about 4 risk factors. Basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to eat some lunch, but also I want Bitcoin to be able to touch this exact resistance zone here. And if it does hit off of this area, this is where I'm going to start taking shorts again. So I wanted to collect profit off of this one in case I did miss the timing here, but I think that's also going to give us some opportunities here as well. So, all right, I'm taking a bit of a degen trade here because if you see, we're at this previous day high area and we just responded off of it. So I want to see what kind of response this gets. And if it flips, it's going to be probably a big retracement once this area does sort of give in. All right, keep in mind, this is the resistance level we just hit off of the macro Bitcoin chart. So if this wants to flip even a little bit, this is going to be a really, really big move down. That's sort of why I was taking it. All right, getting a nice push down now. Previous day high for the win. All right, nice push down though. I'm just gonna reduce my risk on this. I don't care if it pops up anymore. I have another target, honestly, if it wants to make another move, but stop loss ripping that break even, man. This is how you do it. Risk reduction, open yourself up to opportunities. Big push down now. I think I'm gonna go for at least the 50 retracement on this, and then I'll do the same thing and I'll walk my stop loss in on this. Because a lot of times what will happen on this type of trade is that the market will basically have these big pushes up, get off rejection, which seems to be previous day high as well, but the fact that previous day high also matched up with this resistance level, which could also just be the point where this starts to reverse. If that's the case, this could be like the last high before like an all day type move. So 2,700 now. So I don't really want to like take this off the table. I'd rather give it the opportunity to just have a ridiculous reversal for the rest of the day and actually break session lows versus trying to take, you know, like a whatever normal risk reward trade off the table. So we have a risk-free trade now. If it comes up, whatever. Otherwise, if it comes all the way down, I'm just going to keep playing this because I've seen that happen before where now it can go to the previous day low. So now we wait. All right, so price came down to almost touch the 61.8 area. So you'll see I locked in 1,300 on this position. I still have 1,800 open. So now I'm just gonna watch for this area to be hit. I have an alert set, so let's see what can happen now. This is an insane trade, actually. Like I normally don't even take trades like this, but when you have parabolas like that, if you can get a double top, daily resistance, and a previous day high, all at that same point responding, it's like worth one risk factor if you're already up 5 on the day to potentially be able to have another move like this. And like I said, if that was that last move before we get a flip, this is going to be like a beast. So we're going to see. All right, so what I'm doing now is basically hoping that this will break this low and then continue moving down for the entire session. Okay, because we got a really nice response off the underside of this macro Bitcoin chart. And whenever we see this, this is oftentimes the last area before a major reversal. And if that's the case, we could trade down for the rest of the entire session. Worst case scenario that happens is this comes up, whiplashes back up, and we get out for what we've already locked in, which is like probably a little shy of 2,000. Best case scenario is this drops lows, continues trading down for the whole session, and this is the last trade of the day, and it's the biggest trade I've ever had. So, well, not P&L wise maybe, but like move wise. So I'm gonna take the risk and just let it sort of chill and see what happens, and then I'm gonna go grab some lunch right now, and we'll come check on it a little bit later. All right, so it's been nearly 4 hours since we got into this trade. So it's definitely a longer trade. We're starting to break down this wedge. Once we break this low here, to be honest with you, it's gonna walk my stop loss down over this high here. And then, yeah, if it stops me out, we'll find another trade. For now, basically it's about 4:30. I'm gonna head to the gym while this trade plays out. We'll see if the markets can sort of dump. Overall, we're floating almost like 3,500. We're up 4,000, so we're up like around 7,000 actively on the day right now. So good position to be in on a Sunday, honestly. So we're gonna go to the gym and see how this plays out. Take this trade off the table. It was fun, but it's taken almost 5 hours now. So I want to be able to continue to take trades into the later evening sessions. So we're up 1,700 right now, sort of just consolidating. I'm going to close out for about $3,000 total. I'm going to let the market sort of reset. I'm going to eat dinner, and then I'm going to look for trade number 3. So look at the trade that we were in earlier. I took off the table because must be some sort of news coming out. But if you see the chart, basically just went all the way back up and would have stopped us out. So I took the trade off the table at a good time, which is nice. Markets are sort of whiplashing around. So what I'm going to do right now is see if there's any sort of breakout areas. Honestly, trading Sunday is pretty weird. Price action seems to be just a little bit wacky. Like it'll make big moves and then it won't move. But overall, pretty happy with the day. 2 trades so far, which is lower than the normal amount of trades that I'm taking. We should be up around $6,000 to $7,000. Not really trying to push it for the day. See if we take one more trade. Probably got 1 to 2 trades left in us. So just enjoying the nice sunset. Enjoying sunset here, and then I'll get back to it. And then we'll see if we can find more trades. All right, looking for a short position here on ETH. We just broke this level. So I'm gonna go ahead and get short here, stop over this fair value gap. All right, we're in. Initial move looks really good. We're up 1,600. We got a really nice response off of our entry. All right, so there's a lot of volatility in this. So I'm hoping that we can just continue to drop here. I don't want this to flip back in, obviously. All right, So at this point, I'm reducing risk into my position here. I don't want to let this come up and stop me out for a full loss. So I'm just going to lock in a little bit of profit. If this wants to push a bit more, I'll probably close it out 1 to 3, 1 to 4 risk reward. But yeah, I'm hoping that we see a continuation. Looks like a nice move so far. All right, so we're out for a small win. Price came back up, pushed into our stop loss here, but now would have been back to our entry. So what I will do actually is if we want to come back up and test this underside as well, I'm okay to take that as a short position. I'm going to go ahead and journal this for basically consider it a break even, and then we'll try to set up another one. All right, a little bit annoying that this came up and then is now back down to the low, but a little bit choppy price action. So I'm going to go ahead and switch gears. I'm going to make a YouTube video actually right now. So I'm going to let the market sort of reset, get some deep work in here. Then we'll see if we can find one more trade before the session's over. But for now, I was able to lock in 321. So basically a break even trade. We're up 7,800. So not bad. We'll look for another one. This is going to be the last trade on the day if this is a trade. I'm looking to take a long here on Solana. We just have been trending down on this whole movement here, and we're catching support along these low levels, and we just got a nice big push with a break of structure to the upside, which is basically like a change of character on this current trend. So if we can dip back down, this is a massive area of support that we saw before. So I'm assuming that if this were to come down into this area, soak up these orders, we could get a nice push for the last trade of the day. So all right, so we had an order in, but you can see this pulled back for a second and then didn't quite fill us and is now up like crazy. So that would have been 7 risk factors, which is 7K on the day. Honestly, would have been really nice to end off with that, obviously, but we still had a fantastic day. All right, so looking at trade number 1, outside of our 930 zone, I was waiting for these lows to sort of break and I was playing into this pattern. So I wanted to get in short here at this area. So I took my short position, got a rejection off of that key area. Then we trended down. We did end up breaking these lows, but then we came back up, didn't sort of catch off of this trend, and then didn't have a full push off of that area. So we ended up coming back up, and this was the beginning of a massive move to the upside, which obviously we were able to catch on that next trade. So I didn't stay too biased on the shorts. With our macro daily chart, I knew this would be heavy resistance right here, but as soon as it broke above it, then I knew we basically had this whole space to fill, which was going to bring some momentum for the day, which is exactly why we got that move. All right, that's why I switched my bias. And as soon as we broke out of this trend, this area was resistance. You could see resistance over here, resistance over here, heavy resistance, broke. So when it was retested into a fair value gap, I took a nice long position here, and then price continued to move up. I ended up taking the trade off here, and we could have ran this actually way higher. I mean, at one point it was 10R, so that would have been 10K, but we locked in like 5 risk factors and totaled in $4,400 worth of profit, which is really nice. Okay, then after we got that massive move to the upside, this next trade was sort of a Hail Mary, right? We had such a drastic push. This was the previous day's high here, and oftentimes what I've noticed is when price moves substantially up in a straight line, if it's going to run into the previous day high, that's oftentimes a really, really big area of resistance. And you can see I did that right in real time. We were already up like 4 risk factors, so I was willing to sort of put some risk on the table to get that opportunity. We did end up sniping that top area, got to move down, and then I was trying to be patient and see if this would flip for the rest of the day, but then we ended up coming back up. All right, and after my first and second order, we locked in $3,200, which once again, if I just held the whole position, could have been another 10 risk factors. So today's session was very whiplashy. Had I have just held with full positions, it could have been a way different day. Okay, then I found a trade on ETH. We were sort of trending along this level. We finally had a change of character, which was indicating the trend reversal. And then we had a nice candle push, fair value gap formation in here, right at that same level that was broken out to the upside. So took a short position in here and rode this down. Price ended up coming back up. And we took the trade off in profit for basically a break-even win, but I made 328 on that trade. Wow, ETH is ripping right now. And then the sad story, once again, of the trade that never filled, that would have been massive. But listen, that's day trading. You can't predict the future. You can only be responsive. So for the day, ending up with no losses, actually 2 break-evens, 2 wins on the day, $7,800 of profit. It was a good day. And this is the realistic view into what day trading actually is going to look like. It's not always flashy. It's not always going to look good. This is the nonsense that you're going to deal with. It's the reality. Make sure you like the video if you're still here. Subscribe if you want to watch more and know when I put videos out. Okay, you can check out my socials below. If you also want to check out our education and private trading team, I'll link it right here. But until next time, guys, I'll see you all in the next video.